Alrighty, sorry about the delay. Welcome back to another thrilling installment of Wordy Wednesdays. Wow, everything is lagging a lot on my end. What is that all about? I don't like that. Give me one sec here. Yeah, that's better. I don't know what I did. That shouldn't have worked. Wow. Well, I'm not complaining. Anyway, previously on, we say goodbye to old Jim and our previous cast of characters. Um, it seems that old Jim was the piano man at the barroom scene as everything started going to heck in a handbasket. Um, during acceptance from Saul's perspective, the lighthouse keeper's perspective. Um, it's revealed that there may or may not be a time travel plot of some sort going on. The rogue might be a time traveler from the future, trying to either prevent Area X from happening or at least subvert Area X in some way. Keep it from having the worst possible effects and instead have a less terrible outcome. It's not totally clear. Anyway, we now move on to a new chapter. And I regret to inform those among the audience who have sensitive sensibilities with regards to certain four-letter invectives, you are going to be hearing a lot of them. I mean a lot, a lot. I mean, wow, that's a lot. So much so that I'm probably going to wind up changing the cover image to something inappropriately appropriate. Um, so for this section, there is yet another bit of weird photography going on here, a weird image. It looks like possibly a baby stingray. I'm not sure. In a jar in front of a bunch of other ocean or tide pool life. So this is now a time skip has occurred. We are now going to be just a little bit after the border came down that delineates Area X, um, what would formally be called Area X. So our previous segment, our previous part with Old Jim was what 18 months before Area X, and this is call it 2.5 years later. The initial part was, I think, 20 years before, was it not? With the biologists? Yes, 20 years before. But now we're a little bit after Area X, the bubble has popped up. All right, and without further ado, let's get crack-a-lackin'. The first and the last, 1 year after the border came down. 1. Fuck that chicken. Love and glory holes. Just 24 fucking hours until they crossed the fucking border, and nothing Lowry didn't know, for fuck's sake, that Jack hadn't told him, and he didn't know anything. Fuck. Not for fucking real. The world felt like it was in shackles, and the only fucking way to deal with that shit was to become so abso-fucking-lutely free he could claim his existence as an act of fucking defiance. Nothing on the news, oblivious to the SR's first expedition, nothing in his sordid past, nothing about the other exped mems skewed him different. Sail la fucking V. They were going to sail off into the distance like a boss. Even though the actual coastline they'd fuck up had not been much discussed, so they'd never think of the fucking horrible things that occurred waterside when the border came down. Lowry's on-again, off-again mission loathing manifested and festered as hate for the fucking suit he would have to wear to cross the border into what they now called Active Area X. The inner layer covered his skin so fucking perfectly, like an extra-large condom over his huge cock, that Lowry felt entombed. An organism had wrapped itself around him to suffocate him, to slowly dissolve and cheese-grate him into nothing but feeble as fuck motes of dust and light. The slight rasp of air circulating only, fuck, gave him the claustro sensation of being digested, in a way beyond grokking. He was only an expert on digesting dead flesh, which felt shitting great most of the time, and for his own safety he should let the fuck suit happen. He should let it fuck happen. He should. Fuck? Fuck, fuck, fuck. Similar feelings about Skye, the expedition leader, a blonde Lowry currently banged on the side, clandestine. Another mish near completion. Stress relief, fuck, for them both, he figured, but he couldn't stand the clammy feel of her body for long, almost attached to him as after a fuckathon she shoved herself up against his back in sleep and, fuck, put her arm around him. The texture held wrongness, body heat oppressive, fuck, and he had to pull away, and let her fall, fuck, into sleep again, while he put on his clothes and left. Which made sense, right? Fuck, since no one should be banging anyone else on the expedition, those were the rules, even though so many members were fucking other members. Fuck, that it was like, fuck, an orgy erupting en masse while crossing the border, with other borders and boundaries disrupted, no longer valid. If, fuck, they ever had fucking been. A huge stretch of intestines, fuck, formed the corridor from the border to Active Area X. That, too, a kind of suit, fuck, and the intestines made sense to him, not corridor, because no one could convince him, fuck, it was straight, but the director, fuck, kept talking a straight shot instead of a coiled mass. If he thought long enough, fuck, then fuck would stop appearing in his thoughts, fuck. It came out of his mouth too much, fuck, so fucking fuck, stop it. Stop saying it. Not a condition, just a nervous tick, more fucking clear the closer day approached, but maybe all the drugs, too, fuck. Some experimental as fuck. Fuck. Fuck on a clear sky day, hopping into the truck to be fucking carried away to fuck all fucktown. Area fuck. Southern fuck reach. There. No fuck. Fuck. Lowry liked Skye, just couldn't stand her sometimes, fuck, and Lowry knew she must feel similar. A relief, fuck, so it could never become serious. She had a girlfriend, fuck, or a girlfriend and a boyfriend, something ambidextrous, back in some non-fucked up mid-Atlantic state, which is where Central pulled her from, and must have been a find, buku creds, given what it would take to tempt her, fuck, because she'd been high up in the unnerved brass. What Lowry monikered anyone above, while below was just a mass of basement twats. No thanks, optical antenna. I will not take a shot for every fuck because I will die. Don't ever do that as a as a drinking game. You will. I don't care how resilient you are. That's how you kill your kidneys and your liver. You'll be done. Okay, so let me repeat that last two sentences. Even though it's long, there's a lot of fucks. She had a girlfriend, fuck, or a girlfriend and a boyfriend, something ambidextrous, back in some non-fucked up mid-Atlantic state, which is where Central pulled her from, and must have been a find, buku creds, given what it would take to tempt her, fuck, because she'd been high up in the unnerved brass. What Lowry monikered anyone above, while below was just a mass of basement twats. Snagged a bouquet of flowers, fuck, and snatched a ring ground zeroed with a diamond splinter, fuck, before this last time, fuck, and who knew what kind of sleeping arrangements they'd have beyond the border, or if anyone would even be in the mood. Fighting off the unknown with their glorious automatic rifles, fuck, forging ahead for the glory and the power. Flowers and the ring made an ironic statement on the conditions of their fucking, fuck, but somehow, when Lowry had handed Skye the white lilies and proffered the ring, fuck, it had become something more serious or mysterious. Fuck, and why not? He was going to be shoved in like a Vienna sausage into a truck and hauled to the border like a Vienna sausage, and then all the fucking anonymous sausages, standing upright, would fuck off into the unknown. So was she. Fuck. The look on Skye's face became clouded, vague, as she said, well, Lowry, you're surprising me here. I didn't know you were one for a grand gesture. Fuck, 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 fuck. But he was. He was. And he couldn't control the pulse of impulse, and didn't, as then, fuck, know when he was succumbing to the impulse, the disease, the sentimentality that he'd tried to crush and crunch inside him like a field of broken glass, a diamond fragment. Still, that quality was, fuck, a part of James Danforth Lowry, son of a bunch of deceased shitheads and fuckfaces reaching back to old fuck farm money in the Midwest. Forget about chickens sent across on leashes. Forget they would be thrust through the border like a cock thrust through a glory hole in the back of that bar in Bleekersville that Delmas, no fucking psychic, had mentioned one too many times. Fuckling pickle jars. Stupid security breach in the damn middle of the southern reach. Fuck. The unholy reliquaries centered around a goddamn tombstone. Fuck. What a pain that, fuck, they couldn't remove for 20 more years, out of fucking respect for a dry bag of bones underneath that had owned the doll factory the Gov had bought to find the space for the command center. Fuck. All the enviro regs in the world quashed, fuck, but this ancient fucker leered up at them from almost dead center of the main building, and would for 2 decades more. Fuck. And the only disrespect or concession or whatever the fuck it was that meant they'd piled all these jars of finned fuck specimens around them, all the deep sea critters, so it was a glass room of dead marine spectators fucking graveside. Fuck. And the dead guy, fuck, could not have thought in his shitting will to put in the clause, shall not be overshadowed by dead sea proteins. So, fuck, now hemmed in and frayed by these glorious fuckers in their surveillance chambers of clear glass, backlit by a spectacular set of tech rave lights on perpetual memorial mode, as even the most drama-crazed Eurotrash bro could wish or fish for in a lifetime of snorting the white stuff. Fuck. The clarity of neon blue, yellow, green, red, and then some ill-advised return of a too light blue on the bottom shelf. Fuck. All of it on the shelves looking like the liquor wall at your fave swank bar. So, fuck, less rave than smash a hole in a jar, pick it up with both hands, decant it into your face, and learn by taste the briny secrets of the southern reach. Seaside moonshine, aged in the dark depths. All of the creatures, fuck. Samples from the seaward side of the border come down. None of it useful, fuck. None of it. Fuck. Helping know what, fuck, happened. But still they kept it there. All cute, creepy, maybe a fuck you to the oldster in the ground who made them keep his gravestone. So, something you'll notice is that we've gone from challenging sentence structure to nigh incoherence. Um, this is deliberate. There are reasons for this. He's alluded to drugs already. It's drugs, among other things. It's also just Lowry. Lowry's got problems. Including, fuck, the cheery-looking dapper little shark, tail fins down, squat face peering out with a wicked smile, like a fucking stand-up comedian in some backwater failing seaside town with a bad beach, about to launch, fuck, into a, fuck, old-fashioned shipwreck of a performance. Listen, folks, have you tried the halibut? I halibut you haven't. Costs too many clams. And there are fuck, 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 fuck. Several fucks in a row. Oh, right. I was going to let's change to something possibly appropriate. Inappropriately appropriate. I might get dinged for this, and if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. um, Others lagged not far behind. Cuttlefish lad, with the tricorn hat-looking tail at the top, jammed into a jar too small, so, fuck, the eyes bugged out at the bottom, perpetually shocked by his fate, like anybody at the Southern Reach, fuck. Or maybe downward diving shark was his fave, because he liked all the sharks, being one, for the fucking gravitas on the face. The texture that, fuck, seemed plush like a stuffed toy from childhood, and that expression almost priest-like, so you, fuck, could tell DDS anything you felt, even about priests. That's downward diving shark. In this chapel, this cathedral. Ah, fucking God, it was all death, wasn't it? And yet with those glass shelves, fuck, the jars all lit up like Christmas in that square room. A little cramped, but the ceiling, fuck, so high up it got lost in darkness, perfect as a storeroom once they cleared, fuck, the riffraff out. While down below, in the center, surrounded by low gray metal benches set into a wall, the gravestone, with the, fuck, improbable patch of dirt and grass, so, fuck, that a goddamn mole breached security once or twice. Well, you could sit there, fuck, and meditate, while all the weight of hundreds, fuck, of dead souls stared hard at you. That was worth the price of admission, fuck, because where the hell could you see anything like this? Nowhere, fuck, except, maybe, depending, what did he know, Area X itself. Chaste. This name is something else. Chaste Dick Dread, the fucking name on the tombstone. Couldn't make that shit up, unless Central had, for PSYOPs reasons, though fuck, what would those reasons be? Saint Dick Dread the Chaste. Chase that dread dick around the room, breaking glass with baseball bats. The ghost that remained steadfast, reliable. And, fuck, maybe that also drew Lowry to the room. That and how his security clearance, fuck, just barely cleared that limbo bar. Chin above, or maybe limbo bars worked the other way, but still it felt like being in limbo, sitting in that, fuck, space. Also, Whitby, who had become his fucking defaulto confidant on mish-sensitive topics, favored the room, so it felt comfortable. Those were all the whys he'd given Skye the ring and flowers there, fuck, in the one fucking place in the whole goddamn brutarian Southern Reach complex with, fuck, the most character and, fuck, the most history. Except she'd recoiled or coiled, couldn't tell which in that light, over the monstrosities he, fuck, saw as old friends. And him, in fucking articulate, argle-bargling it in. Argle-bargling it. There we go. And him, in fucking articulate, argle-bargling it in trying to explain he, fuck, had more in common with them things in jars, fuck, than the things in bars he shared space and time with, fuck, his fellow exped members. Estranged, fuck, strange, 'cause none of them had problems with extra skins. While these fine fellows, fuck, secure in their jars, must symph. Sorry. I'm going to try this paragraph over. Um, yeah, this is about what I was afraid of. It's 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 tough. Chaste dick dread. Um, it's very easy to get lost in the sauce here. So those were all the whys he'd given Sky the ring and the flowers there, fuck, in the one fucking place in the whole goddamn Brutarian Southern Reach complex with, fuck, the most character and, fuck, the most history. Except she'd recoiled or coiled, couldn't tell which in that light, over the monstrosities he, fuck, saw as old friends. And him in fucking articulate, argle-bargling in it. And him in fucking articulate, argle-bargling it and trying to explain he, fuck, had more in common with them things in jars, fuck, than the things in bars he shared space and time with, fuck, his fellow exped members. Estranged, fuck, strange, 'cause none of them had problems with extra skins. While these fine fellows, fuck, secure in their jars, must symph with him. That's sympth, symph like sympathize. With him. Must simp for him. Must, oh fuck, these drugs were so good and so invisible to their piss tests, and he knew from experience, fuck, that his expression and his words came out not all chewy and elongated and melty how it felt, but pure and resounding, and, fuck, like he had the resolve of backbone even when he did not. But yeah, so fuck. Sky had unnerved him with the blase blast of a response, the coldness, fuck, of that place, a refrigeration of both sea friends and his regard for her, and now, fuck, he spiraled more, fuck, thinking there was no anchor except the anchor of being encased in a second skin, fuck. Somehow, sentimental, fuck, he'd begun to think of a future post-Mish, maybe back in the land of Midwest farmhouses, maybe somewhere, fuck, more esoteric. Yet, too, he had to admit, fuck, he'd ruined it by expounding fucking fuck on the fact that the tombstone of Booney's landowner doll factory founder lay atop a colonial fort, the last foundational remains of such, fuck, and Lowry had strong feelings about that, especially on the drugs. Possibly this is that fort arrangement that he uses in acceptance as a training spot. Not sure. The fucking invaders had fucked it up to begin with their pogroms. Yep, that says pograms. And their shitty forts dumped on the landscape like they fell from the sky as alien spaceships, each polygon or hexagram or whatever shape they chose, drawn up like thrusters on a central space capsule. So maybe the forts were the ass end of the spaceships, and the rest had detached and fucked off back into the sky to their home planet, because they sure as fuck had seemed like aliens, spreading disease and death and a stupid fucking language that Lowry still hadn't completely learned. Like, what if they'd had spaceships made of some dense wood or stone and they did fall out of the sky on entering the atmosphere because they were incompetent and made it wrong? But anyway, as he'd said to Scott Landry, who got him the drugs, when Landry had put forth this theory, the thing was that those forts didn't belong in the fucking area, and the whole active Area X didn't belong either. It might be invisible, the border, but the imprint was the same. Like a bunch of fucking stone forts had smashed down into the firmament and just stayed there. Just fucking stayed and spread, and how the hell had anyone lived in those things in this climate anyway? What a disaster. So they would be inside an invisible fucked up fortress that was enclosing many earlier fucked up fortresses, as surely as if the invisibleness were visible and made of coquina or whatever other stupid ass materials the invaders had used, and just sproinged up out of the ground. Just sproinged up out of the ground, as Landry put it, and Lowry, who called it wide scale anthropology, rude corrected by Landry to That's just history, man. Couldn't erase from his mind this idea of all these spaceship forts landing and all these invisible walls springing out of the earth like, well, not like suddenly erect penises because they were the wrong shape, but the word springing was like that, this suddenness and sudden fucking, yeah, it was, and then their fucking moats and cannons and so on and so forth. To which rant Sky appeared immune in, fuck, a romantic sense. Poor Lowry's love life. You'd almost feel for him. Haunted brass. The great final briefing. An anti-briefing by the haunted brass, the unnerved brass, the brass not fucking going into active Area X, swerved up by the director the day before the mission, central like an elephant that ate its own giant turds as they came out. Lowry had cooled it on. Fuck, the fucking drugs, so maybe... Oh. Lowry had cooled it on, fuck, the fucking drugs, so maybe he wouldn't spew mid-spew. The standard words in the standard ranks and rows of high-salutin' sentences. How there was the possibility the expedition would be met by soldiers still alive in there, from the army base, Navy seamen from the destroyer cut in half by the border, who might have swum to shore to lead a fucking resistance against... what? No one knew, still. At least, no one would tell them. But morale was high, and some of them just high. Jackie there for a time, Jack's daughter, looking imperious and Cruella effing DeVille. Rumor had it, around the locker rooms and in the playpens they called the exercise rooms, that Jackie had just gotten out of Area X. Not by the skin of her teeth, but the skin of her ass. Felt the breeze of the border on her butt hairs. Doing one last thing for dear old Dad. Fuck, some skullduggery alluded to like smarmy subtext in the files. The way it got told, fuck, which wasn't the way it happened, no doubt, fuck, it was like stalling out on the train tracks. The border came down and chopped her car in half like a butcher with a cleaver. And her there in the front seat, fuck, the metal sheared as fine as if with a precision laser, so it was like one of those slices of the human body at those fucked up museums that gave Lowry the chills. As fellow Misher Karen Hargraves would have it, like some sadomasochistic storyteller, the cut had been so close it had sliced away the layer of her pants waistband, jutting in a soft V past her underwear, left her untouched. Stupid fucking story. Fuck, the anatomy of it made no sense. But that breathless moment of belief, that idea of brushing up close to something so absolute and alien, and in that moment, what? Did you shit yourself? Piss yourself? Come all over the place until you had no internal organs left? Or just sit there like a dumb statue, traumatized forever? Maybe it had happened to someone, even if not to Jackie. Maybe that's how it sounded so real and unfucking real at the same time. Like an encounter with God, if God wasn't just a fucking terracotta joke shoved on a stick and sold to unsuspecting shitheads. All 24 of them, fuck, had been made to gather in the Southern Reach cafeteria, which still had a plastic rubber chemical new place smell, so Landry at Lowry's bidding called it the cafeteria, which still felt like fucking largesse. The rest of this fucking ridiculous section had been the part The rest of this fucking ridiculous section had been the part wrenched and recruited out of retirement as a factory making children's dolls. Way out in the middle of nowhere, it had died along with the tourist attraction Doll Land. Fuck. Not fuck. Just a bunch of smashed foundations among weeds on a back road that led to the town of Headley. The Southern Reach so loathed these origins, none of the documentation mentioned it. Fuck, 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 fuck. Now, Dollland bespoke multitudes of high-end thrill-seekers, people in the know who had clamored to join. No sense of the existential threat, as Whitby, world champ exped alt, a twee too cheery enviro scientist, put it. What existential threat? Lowry had asked. Oh, you know. No, I do not know. Lowry had fuck snarled. Well, the unknown. The fallacy of thinking we know what's going on in there just because of a chicken. A chicken. Fuck Whitby. Fuck Whitby's chicken. Just fuck all that. But Lowry thought about the chicken, without a contamination suit on, navigating that dank corridor from the border to AAX, fuck, and some small part of him wept over that fucking chicken's terror. While the director droned on about all the insignificant things, which was anything that happened now, before getting on with it. And Lowry thought also about how the arrows of the sprightly, colorful cafeteria carpet pointed out toward the just landscaped exterior, which included a scoped-out artificial holding pond and some gaudy, stupid benches painted in shit stripes of primary colors, which no one fucking used because of the heat and no tree cover. So this is definitely at where Control was stationed. Not this the line of his thing about former forts is just why he chose a fort when Claire, going as the psychologist slash director, um, was interacting with Lowry in acceptance. How they'd covered up the doll factory real good. You could barely tell, although Lowry had this fucktastic disaster scenario in his head, where after the director's droning, fuck, he'd tug on a string and 1,000 doll heads would come tumbling the fuck down from some hidden panels in the ceiling, fuck, rather than the customary party balloons. The old chain gang getting the lecture, plus poor double-fucked exped alt, ex-alts, fuck, the exped mems called them. Jesus Christ. Let me spell that out for you, because that's just word salad. Okay, in a minute. Minute over. Um, so this is in parentheses. So let me read out the sentence, including parenthesized section. The old chain gang getting the lecture, plus poor double-fucked exped alt, ex-alts, fuck, the exped mems call them, Whitby Allen at his usual seat at the back of the room, facing out. Okay, so we're going to cover all the punctuation in this disaster area. The old chain gang getting the lecture, comma, plus, parentheses, poor double hyphen fucked exped alt, comma, letter X capitalized hyphen alts, comma, fuck, comma, the exped membs, MEMBS, calls them, unparentheses, Whitby Allen, comma, at his usual seat at the back of the room, comma, facing out, period. Monstrously constructed sentence, and the line breaks do it no favors. It's a good thing this character's on drugs, or I'd have serious questions about the state of mind of the author. The old chain gang getting the lecture, plus poor double-fucked exped alt, ex-alts, fuck, the exped mems call them, Whitby Allen at his usual seat at the back of the room, facing out. Like he expected bounty hunters to burst in, fuck, chain him to a wall, sizzle brand his ass, and dry hump him all the way to jail, and was fucking ecstatic about it. No one had dropped the basket or kicked out or whatever the hell the expressions were that tumbled through Lowry's head along with all the other stuff, fuck, so Whitby would remain a behind, with a capital B, which was another way the exped members reffed the ex-alts. I'll be there in spirit, Whitby ventured, fuck, probable belief that all 24 wolves staring at him from time to time thought dippy shitty sheep thoughts. I hope not, Lowry stage whispered back. "'Cause you're needed here." "Look for the tag TOT," Whitby said mysteriously, fuck, with a thin smile. "Remember that. And then you must run, because you won't know what it is." "Like jog?" Whitby shook his head, whispered, "Trash or treasure, trash or treasure," like a sinister parrot, but then said no more, in part because the fucking director had begun to look at them as if they were misbehaving schoolboys at some fucked up boarding school where everyone took turns whipping the shit out of each other's bums of a fortnight to leg-trembling excess. Extra drone. The natural state of men living side by side is war. The natural process of peace is to side with war. This expedition goes in peace, but with the capacity to wage war. Did it? All 24 of them? The deep sea fish stared out of their fucking jars at Lowry, and it seemed to him they were fucking judging him. Even dead in their jars, dredged up from the bottom of the goddamn ocean, trawled to be truths about AAX, and they'd failed that. So fuck these fucking fish for judging him. He was about to be a hero, along with 23 other heroes. Well, fuck, maybe more like 19 other heroes, because some didn't seem like they had the gumption for it, would wind up in jars themselves, floating for fucking ever until Central carted them away to be jar things in some invisible warehousing space that no one would ever see, and the dust would collect on the jars, and even though some would be human size, fuck, you wouldn't know until you fucking wiped the dust away whether it was some goddamn sunfish with an accusing eye, or private shithead crapseed, giant octopus squish jellied, or Colonel Kicked Bucket. And which one had the worse fate, the scientific experiment, or the guy or gal who didn't turn this huge opportunity into a win? Lowry knew the fucking answer to that. Oh my fucking god, this fucking fuck briefing would never be over, not in his lifetime. The expedition would start 5 years from now, fuck, and they'd all be dead from standing in this spot, pissing themselves, dehydrated, all that training down the drain. Where the fuck was Landry with more drugs? He was running out of fucks, which now felt very wrong, so he knew he hadn't maintained a level, but was coming down, and that couldn't happen until he was out of the suit skin shit. Now he had to stop saying suit skin and get more drugs for the fucks to replace suit skin. And finally, the briefing was over, and all the brain powers sucked out of all of them jumped right back in, and amid the muttering and the little chuckles, they decamped to the cafeterarium to see what new lunacy Whitby Allen might have in store for them, theory-wise. What might greet them inside Area X? Nothing had come out. Not a thing. But the great final briefing? That came out, fuck, kept coming out, and might never stop. Oop, I gotta keep switching between covers here. I say covers. I mean the fuck words. Hopefully that does not wind up being the the thingamajorb. Scroll call. Morale boosting booster of a briefing received. Roll call came next, which meant the stink eye for Lowry from some, because the Southern Reach had let him keep his mane of golden hair. Because he'd snarled deadly enough, or barked enough, or expelled his organs like a sea cucumber when they'd tried to insist. But they knew why they'd brought him on. Charismatic and direct, a little nutty, the craggy good looks, the athlete's build, the fittest member by far. Resolute jaw. A comedian as a bonus, could tell a great joke. Unpredictable moves. Bright blue eyes. Piercing, some women called them. Yeah, baby. keep the main. Be a downer during roll call, all you fucking want. All you shaved scalps and close call twat cuts. Still, who the fuck didn't feel quasi-invincible on this mission? They all did, even the psycho-psychics. They had trained like banshees, like windmills, like robots, like pixie fairies made of some unbreakable metal, pumped up on adrenaline and some drugs. All the best equipment, why not use it? Lowry was itching to use it all. Director Captain Chef, the kind of paunchy white dress shirt wearing, tan blazer wearing, navy trousers wearing motherfucker Lowry preferred to think of as overseeing a physics lab or a high school as principal, but not well. Did the old hem and haw at start of roll call, like they weren't highly trained, highly motivated MOVO pros, jumping up and down on blocks while screaming insults at their parents, enduring temp extremes while girding their minds against contamination, shouting, "Yes, please, may I have another," while lashing each other with whips while they wore heavy clothing and helmets with masks, practicing hiking the fucking football in a wind tunnel. The usual. If Lowry fidgeted, in that interregnum before the names, it was twofold. Some tiny abnormal piece of him, deep inside, worried that this time the director would leave his name off the list. But also, there were too fucking many of them, which got on Lowry's nerves, because there were also, as he'd explain later to anyone who would listen, too few of them. But, for the roll call, just trying to remember the names, let alone the personality behind a name, just awful. A chore, a horrible task. That was Tommy that was Gretchen Supergroper, that was Prick the Super Psychic. Redundancy, yes, but 24 felt like Central expected attrition, not insurgency, followed by conquest, or even just a plain old walk in the park. Dan Henkel looked like a walking, talking, unlit matchstick with legs. Christopher Formsby was too tall. John Fu told stupid bad jokes. Frank Delmas folded his arms as a preamble to pedantic lectures about nothing any twat would want to hear. Marie Bukvich believed too strongly in the supernatural, so he always saw a black cloud over her head. Joanna Easterling was all right, but in small doses, due to her fucking way of repeating what you said as a question to give her time to think. And so it went, and so it goes. Lowry bonded with himself first and foremost, and he believed that was right and true. Jamal Winters grated and got on his last nerve for the simple fucking reason that Winters was second in command, and Lowry believed he should be second in command. Animal, visceral reaction, and Lowry believed in allowing those, encouraging those, as the true fucking reaction. None of this bullshit of pretending. That led to repression, heart attacks, soft cocks. Fuck that shit. Also, Jamal had a wonderful personality and good leadership skills, and that pissed Lowry off because in AAX none of that might matter. They might get there and figure out good leadership skills got them all killed. Been there, done that. Checkered history, but also he'd played chess and played fucking well for a long time. He was ready to jump in when Jamal failed. Lowry only took an interest in a few of them because the rest might be cannon fodder despite their bona fides. But he'd been wrong before, so tried not to alienate any of them but Winters. Although he knew most of them hated him on principle. Yet, would any of them fucking die for him on the mission the way he would for them? Like, he would fucking dive in front of a burning bus full of killer whales with a monster on the roof directing traffic while shooting RPGs out of its ass. For them. All of them. Any of them. But he fucking liked very few of them, except Landry, Hargraves, and, well, maybe just those two. Skye didn't count because she fucking counted too much. At first, he'd liked Hargraves because she fucking accorded him respect, understood who she was talking to, and how poised on the cusp he was. And not just because, like fucking usual, she wanted a special gold-plated invite into his pants. Cusp of greatness. Cusp of valorous deeds. Cusp of solving AAX. He had theories he had never fucking shared because only AAX deserved to hear them, like he was facing the Sphinx and figuring out its riddles. But then Lowry'd fucking figured out she was taking the piss out of him, as his Brit Crumpet friends on prior missions had put it. Trying to piss take him a bit. With a smile that never changed a degree, so it was hard to tell. Plus, Hargraves, along with three others, were top brass, haunted brass, protected species, the rumor paper mill belching out the smoke signal that they came from long histories of military service at the highest levels. So, over time, he'd figured out Hargraves was the great pumpkin, if someone else jumped out of a fetal position from a huge pumpkin in a ghoul's costume. Hargraves was like if a bunch of intelligent knives with an education had first become a huge colander of talent and then morphed into a human being right before you used the huge colander to get the world record for boiling broccoli or some such fucking record. Jesus Christ. That one gets me. Let's do that one again. So, over time, he'd figured out Hargraves was the great pumpkin if someone else jumped out of a fetal position from a huge pumpkin in a ghoul costume. Hargraves was like if a bunch of intelligent knives with an education had first become a huge colander of talent and then morphed into a human being right before you used the huge colander to get the world record for boiling broccoli or some such fucking record. Who the fuck knew what she was thinking? He just knew she was thinking all the time, and it made him fucking nervous. Something always got in the way of liking her, and it was Hargraves who got in the fucking way. She was always tripping up the like. What? She was always tripping up the like, so he wanted to keep distant and not treat her like a drinking buddy. Oh, okay. She was always tripping up the like, so he wanted to keep distant and not treat her like a drinking buddy. Except she was like a drinking buddy to every fucking buddy else. That's Buddy. Every fucking buddy else. Anyway, uh, all of this works very well in a printed format. It is not so easy to relate out loud. So why couldn't he commit to even just that fucking kind of buddy relationship? Let the water slide off his back, not some other duck's back. Maybe because Hargraves reeked of competence and commitment. Besides him, she finished first in almost every fucking thing. Open a goddamn can of tomato paste, she'd make her own fucking can opener and have it open before you'd have half a chance to gnaw a hole in the metal with your own fucking teeth. Ordered to bash gophers with a mallet at the county fair, and she'd bring her own multi-headed mallet and bash all the gophers in 3 goes and take the fucking huge teddy bear and the goddamn disgrace of fair fake thought no one would ever attain. Oh, I missed an A. Ordered to bash gophers, ordered to bash gophers with a mallet at the county fair, and she'd bring her own multi-headed mallet and bash all the gophers in 3 goes, and take the fucking huge teddy bear, the goddamn disgrace of a fair fake, thought no one would ever attain, and she'd stuff it full of sticks of dynamite and carry it on her back like 20 fucking miles with no complaint, jogging the whole way if Skye told her to. And probably Lowry if Lowry told her to. Then exploded all over whatever colonial colonic fort she'd been told to blow up. And that was just irritating as holy fucking fuck, wasn't it? Landry disagreed like a fucking asshole about Hargraves and about Winters. He also didn't think Formsby was tall or too formal, but then Landry was tall as fuck, a flagpole in a storm, a lighthouse to guide you home. Just put a blazing light in both his eyes and turn him on. Of course, he'd lead you astray because he'd be giggly high the whole fucking time anyway. Roll call, which was such basic fuck stoic stuff. Like, if some of them didn't answer, weren't there, where the hell could they be? Also, not a damn thing in roll call about sleeping arrangements. Everybody was celibate and stored their fucking genitals on a shelf in their lockers next to their fucking deodorant, according to the director. Even if, perk of Alpha Order, Scaramucci diddled Singer as if it were a sacred duty, and the church would go bankrupt if he stopped, while Winters reached back across the rows of names to subject Bukvich to his no doubt unimaginative thrustings. Did artist colonies operate this way? He'd heard tell, but never been close enough, except once tiptoeing through one after midnight, on the way to a firefight in a forest. But the Mish felt like a too close commune already, minus the skunk pot smell, exped somewhat secondary. And what of it? They had the best of everything. Why not fuck out any fear? Fuck out that fear. Let it go. He should be a goddamn motivational speaker, and maybe, with the right publicist, he would be after this mish. This mish-mash. Then they were all still kind of there, milling, malingering, and Lowry watched Whitby's grin hit a glitch before it flared forth once fucking more. Poor Whitby. Always the fuckee and never the fucker. Sucker, not suckee. That's Succor, not Sucker. Language jokes. Sorry. Hypnotists and jugglers, acrobats and psychics, fire eaters and crypto ecologists had gotten their claws into the exped, and Whitby's rather déclassé anti-bohemian creds did not cut it. So, the first expedition, it numbered 24. And here we have numbers in front of names, and they're going to mean something, and you'll find out what it is after we're done. 18. Skyla Overbeck, Expedition Leader, Naval Intelligence. 13. Calliope Benner, Biologist. 14. Sherry Binder, Archaeologist, Psychic. 15. Samuel Bronin, Surveyor. 4. Marie Bukvich, Psychic. 5. Frank Delmas, Military. 22. Joanna Easterling, Hypnotist, Military. 6. John Ehrlichson, Physicist, some anthro. 10. Dambeku Ferreira, Military. 21. Christopher Formsby, Psychologist. 11. John Fu, Physicist, no anthro. 7. Norian Fussell, Psychologist. 12. Karen Hargraves, Military. 19. Dan Henkel, Medic, Military. 20. Angela Hernandez, Biologist. 3. Rebecca Hinojosa, Biologist. 9. Peng Jiamu, Biologist. 1. Scott Landry, Medic. 24. James effing Lowry, Hero. 23. Danica Miles, Military, Anthro. 2. Marianne Rogers, Biologist. 8. Sophia Scaramucci, Psychic. 16. Tamesha Singer, Material Sciences. 17. Jamal Winters, Medic, Military. Alternates. Whitby Allen, Cosmic Star Child. David Reed, Cosmic Dipshit. Jenny Sperling, not dipshit, not cosmic, not going. The numbers Lowry drew on the sheet with a blue ballpoint pen each roll call had a secret but simple significance. No goddamn soul but Lowry, no twat or bastard would ever be privy, although maybe once he'd fucking told Landry because they'd both been so fucking high. Some positions had changed due to new intel, but most had held steady, and with the slight singe of a burning metal as of a fucking Gatling gun exhausted from continuous fire. First through last to die, drop the bucket, smash the flask, end up ashes. No point rating the fucking riffraff of the alternates, as he had no idea which of them was more likely to succumb to a slip and fall on the southern reaches over waxed concrete floors. The numbers had analysis behind them, with no bows to fucking bastard esoterica like friendship. Which was why the number one candidate to drop dead sooner than later had always been, and always fucking would be, Scott Landry. Nothing personal, Scott. Nothing personal in this chart I keep making where you fucking kick the fuckets right off the fucking bat. Landry was cool, though. Lowry thought Landry was way fucking cool, but also that Landry would be the first to go. Nothing wrong with that. One thing was a friendship based on Landry giving Lowry the fucking drugs that made him think or say fuck too much, but also kept him on this plateau somewhere high up close to Mount Olympus. Landry and Lowry, buds, sitting in a tree, Doingdrugs. Landry and Lowry meeting out back and after Lowry had visited Sky so they could do more drugs. Landry made things pop and fizzle. Frizzle. He always had the right amphetamine mix, and he fucking gave it up a lot. Everybody knew. Nobody cared. Came with the territory as a perpy exped mem who owed allegiance to both the Army and Central, got to raid both their fucking pantries. But they were all supermen and superwomen, in the prime of their fucking fitness. Who gave a fuck what they did, so long as they showed up and kicked ass? "Storm the torpedoes! Damn the speedos! All hail!" had been his and Landry's battle cry for a while, forced through obstacle courses and the like. One of those things you couldn't explain to anyone else, but made Landry and Lowry laugh so hard their sides hurt. But kicking ass was hard work, fuck, even ahead of time, in abstract, and the drugs kept him even-keeled rather than keel-hauled. He took one almost any time he thought about putting on the suit. He was taking one right now, and then another, over at the water cooler, sneaky, as roll call progressed with all the speed of a blocked colon. He fuck had taken two earlier while in his apartment in the complex on the army base outside of Bleekersville, behind the barbed wire and giant tiddlywinks, propped up by guards' automatic weapons or bazookas or landmines or something, and guard dogs. The usual kit. So now he was fucking ready for the sausage skin suits, ready to face his fucking fears in the fucking right way, with all his fucks in order and on the rise. The rise of the fucks, yeah. "You have to bring all the drugs into Active Area X, Landry," Lowry had told him, and nodded now at Landry across the table and cocked his finger at him and winked. Oh, sorry. "You have to bring all the drugs into Active Area X, Landry," Lowry had told him, and nodded now at Landry across the table and cocked his finger at him and winked to emphasize the point that he was mind-pushing in Landry's direction. "All the drugs. Yes, boss. Yeah, it's gonna happen. They're gonna sausage wrap those. They're gonna sausage wrap us those chancy motherfuckers. Need to smuggle the drugs." Oh man, that had given him a great idea he wanted to shout at the others, but now had no time to execute. Even just getting the design done would take too long, an epically sad thought. Because "fuck out the fear" should really be on a t-shirt. No reason titty. Last fucking lunch in the cafetorium after the last words from the director. All these fucking lasts lashing at them, at him, while someone had put on a morale-inducing film as a fucking backdrop. "A great nation thanks you for your service." Fucks its thanks right into the fuck service of propping up a rickety fuck screen while not a fucking soul watched this ripe old tripe. Lowry felt his left foot tap-tap-tapping no matter how he tried to stop it. The usual last words bleached of meaning. prattling over images of military helicopters blatting over some jungle. About honor, duty again. Had they not already had this at the briefing? Risk-reward ratios mentioned prominently and other weird sayings. Shit-tastic. Round table, none of them fucking Lancelot or Lancelotia. Lowry staring at his pallid lunch as if it should be lobster and a bottle of champagne, because it should. Even if they were promised immortality in the afterlife that was Active Area X. Fuck that. Stale bun of disappointment. Filet of flat fucking flounder that looked like it came decanted from the jar room, with some dirt and tombstone on the side. Mixed vegetables someone had thrown from a great height, stepped on, smashed, and then used a buzzsaw to render into a fucking mash before boiling them in a pot with too much water. A pint of milk like they were wee bonny bairns in some school lunch program, not fucking earthbound astronauts about to put a beat down with nunchucks and automatic weapons on a fucked up foreign entity. Why'd you agree to sign up? Winters, to the room in general. Skye had checked out of the conversation, and Lowry admired that commitment to not letting her fucking nerves go for a scrum. She'd be wound as tight as a Swiss watch anyway. She'd be sweating orders through her pores as practice. Loud agreement to a word Lowry didn't like. Twat, twat, twat. Cock. Also loud agreement. Whitby blushed in his corner, squirmed, very high schoolish. But Lowry squirmed too. Blinch, twat were approved terms. Cock was fine, except when it wasn't. Twat we owe the honor, your honor. Twat is on the agenda today, Winters? Love. Death. Now, that was real. Is this just a banal Rorschach test? Using words? For the witty repartying. Tour of France, tour of underpants, that old beret's dirty rants. Still time for some Bleekersville glory hole action, assholes. I'll be there with my cock gently shoved through a hole almost too small for it until 7. Stall 3, my lovelies. Oh, that was Lowry. Shit. Still time for some Bleekersville glory hole action, assholes. I'll be there with my cock gently shoved through a hole almost too small for it until 7. Stall 3, my lovelies. Except Lowry's quip made them all go quiet for a time. Fuck. There's 2 F's in a row. Time counting down and counting out more twatty repartee. We're like the colonists in days of yore, someone said, and even Lowry winced. Fucking shitheads on wooden ships finding the wrong fucking place and spearing wild pigs on their arrival and eating them off spears al dente like fucking snacks. And also, they had no honor, not really. Who said that? Who fucking said that? Winters, again asserting himself, like he'd been made second in command or something. And he was, with Lowry third. He thought third, couldn't remember if his request had been affirmed or if they'd made it more complicated than that. Spreading death and disease? I think not. This from Erlichson, somewhat fucktatingly tedious to Lowry in his anthro role. The basic 101 lectures should be subtext, fucking subtext. Explain not the furies of the past at a cafeteria table. By the way, cafeteria is like a catheter. C-A-T, that isn't going to come across super well over the microphone. C-A-T-H-E-T-E-R-I-A, cafeteria. Finding honor and glory and courage, Easterling said, down 2 spots and wrong. Sometimes you had to run like a little brat from danger. Foraging for scraps from an unknown entity. Titty, Lowry offered, to break the mood. More likely we will injure it than us. Erlichson, who was moving from 6 to 4 on Lowry's fucking list, rapidly. Find the off switch. We just need to find the off switch. Who the fuck said titty for no fucking reason? Lowry asked. All the most important haunted fuckers, from the director on down, fucking vomited from their mouths all the time about the fucking off switch. As if the Mish Exped would saunter into Area X and find a huge red fucking button like a giant toadstool, sans caterpillar, and all jump up and down on it until the fucking thing depressed and Area X would just go away and they'd come back to endless thankful reach-arounds and ticker tape parades. Lowry preferred to fucking assume Area X had eaten the off switch, and that meant if it still existed, they'd have to dive down Area X's throat to find it, experience 1,000 fucking stings of hell to get at it, battle their way down to the bottom of the sea, climb a sudden mountain. But still, the director was off switch this, off switch that, like a fucking broken record that someone had smashed over Lowry's head. What if Area X wasn't even truly on yet, and thus no off switch, but somewhere there was an on switch? What if they fucking turned Area X on instead? Hideous thought, hideous truth that gave Lowry vertigo. There, in the cafeteria, Whitby's grin had glazed over, and Lowry didn't know what to read into that. He couldn't fucking tell. Was their banter boring? Was their banter passé? Was their banter an off switch for Whitby? What did he know that made him so fucking glazed? Exasper fucking rated with himself. Because, why Whitby? Why fucking Whitby? Whitby, who was like an old duck, or whatever the fucking phrase was. Freak, piece of work, crackpot, coot, fruitcake, black sheep, no, black sheep, black sleep, no, black sheep. Not his type. But still, Lowry sought his guidance. Were his instincts better than his conscious brain? Maybe. Still, oddly, fuck it, incomprehensible, that Whitby'd been the siren Lowry had listened to most over the past months, lost in the midst. "How'd you get this gig?" He'd asked Whitby once, and Whitby had said, "Teachers, love of nature, someone yelling at me from a school fence." Okay. Whitby, Twitchby, Snitchby. Fuck. Almost time. The off switch. The director shortened Active Area X to Area X at exactly 1700, their on-base curfew. Like a fucking coward, although he couldn't finger why it felt fucking cowardly, only that the director felt fucking cowardly, so must be fucking cowardly, and maybe coward could become his fucking drug word, not fuck, but fuck, there it was again, fucking creeping in. By then, Lowry had snuck into Skye's quarters because she had her own private suite, even if it still just boasted a damn bunk bed. Sawed off that shotgun like everything else, Lowry said. Exactly, Skye said, like everything else. She had expressed more than once concern for what she called the paucity of our supplies. Lowry thought living off the land sounded fucking fun, so it always kept quiet when she brought it up. Except for all the regs imposed on fucking foraging, lousy with regs like fucking head lice. Lousy with regs like fucking head lice. More like mind lice, like the sea lice in their jars, chewing away on the gray matter until all that was fucking left were roll call cells, briefing cells, and, yes, regs cells. Except the number of expedition members, Lowry said, another perpetual fucking sore point, hand on her left breast. Where he preferred it, his hand fucking loyal in that way, and she, too, preferred it, he thought. Except she also didn't fucking care for anything too complicated in that arena. Nothing that might seem more like he was trying to tune in a fucking radio station. Two less psychics than I'd prefer, Skye said. That would leave 2.5, which was 2.5 too many for Lowry, except one of them had weapons training or knew how to play fucking bass guitar, at least. The psychics go first, Lowry said, left it cryptic whether he meant get culled, be pushed on ahead as bait, or what. He ran his finger in the approved counterclockwise motion, not pausing because that tickled her. This could fucking go on for a while, but that was A-okay. And he just agreed with her sometimes for the fuck of it because personally he did believe there were too many other fucking failsafes. Yes, burn the psychics as witches, but also torch the failsafe anthropo. To the funeral pyre with you, metaphorically speaking. Ex-fuckling filtration had been his specialty, the anthropo shit secondary, if useful, especially if you tossed in some psychology and stirred the pot with some sniper experience. Fuckable fucking fucked fuck future terminology for college degrees that fucking well fuck apart in the fuck field like fucking paper bags filled with fuck water. Landry's cocktail mix this time blew Lowry's mind, pills ground up into one bolus for his throat to receive. The fucks were incredible, the number of F-bombs going off in his head, trembling off the charts on the tip of his lips. What thrilled his fucking blood, what Sky didn't know as he continued as if she were a safe and the fucking combo would unlock a blowjob, but also a bomb would go off if he didn't find the right numbers soon, was that the civilian degree had just enough community college vitality for show and tell, and that was about fucking it. Central, or Central's emissary rather, had popped up to fucking embed him, as Lowry saw it, as Central's right hand on the mission, to be the lion at the heart of it, the king beast, the secret leader if it all went to shit, despite cocky predictions and cokey ones from Landry. The thrill of how Jack Severance, Central's bright and shining spy master, from way back a legend, legion, and lesion in the field, boil of vengeance wreaked upon the enemy, talked him up in private to people he met but didn't know but must be fucking important if Jack introed them. Wanted him as an extra set of hypervigilant eyes from my perspective, in addition to his actual secret fucking mission. Although, if Lowry was fucking honest, Jack was a lot to take in, especially the first couple of times. Jack had the fucking effect or affect of a human can opener fused to a walking, talking oldie. His beard, fake for the occasion, peppered with salt already, the red, burnished glow to his face either perpetual fuck sunburn, fuck, or some skin ailment that could not be simple slapped off his features, but it lent fucking urgency or at least a scorched authenticity to all Jack fucking said or did. He wore surf brand button down flowered shirts with a silver cross on a chain around his neck. With dress slacks and shiny dress shoes, it looked like his granddad's granddad had bequeathed to motherfucking him. Lowry would meet at Bleekersville's bleak as fuck Snuckers Jesus. Lowry would meet at Bleekersville's bleak as fuck Snuckers Balls pool hall, him forsaking the true fucking name as fuck false for sure. And there, in a back room that smelled of chalk, pesticide, and jizz, Lowry gave him reports on progress, including what he thought about the director and Whitby. Why Whitby he didn't know, but Jack had his eye on Whitby like a fly on a juicy piece of dog shit. He had an eye on Whitby, Lowry wanted to tell Sky, like the Dark Lord with a hard-on looking through a peephole while jerking off to some local folk singer's version of Hey Nonny Nonny. Could get your eye poked out that way, but breach or not, Lowry'd breathed not a word, Jack's pumped-up spy talk, to Sky or anyone else. She could lead and he would follow and back her play, making happy humping loyal gestures and roasting the dumb fuck part of his personality, currently fuck wrestling with the sentimental part of him as he fought off a burst of tears at the thought that he might never cup Sky's breast again if things went wrong. A whopper of a bad thought, right up there with playing fucking tiddlywinks and weeping at a shit-tastic sappy movie. Or was this some other emotion welling up that he dare not put a fucking name to? No way. Sky thought corners had been cut prepping the exped for the mish. Lowry thought that might be the point. Haste. You had a fucking foreign entity that had taken over part of a coast of a country, and it's a goddamn miracle, goddamn, Jack muttered once over his stale pale ale, baptized in the salt of the Forgotten Coast's marsh flats, that we covered it up and sold a bullshit story. Put an expedition in there, too? This country's damn heroic, puts her mind to it, but not that any slob out there'll ever know. She'd never know Lowry had fucking pushed Jack on that, asking Jack to slip us the super weapons, the stuff that's experimental, but it's particle waves or shit like that. Can blow the fuck out of shit. I'm good at that, Jack. Blowing holes in things. Fuck this anthropology shit. Anyone can do that. And Jack had been all like, yeah, yeah, barrel boy, you got the best stuff we have, even your vidya cameras. We are indeed those out of evidence recovery on other ops, including captured cams of foreign entities. Well, Lowry liked the sound of most of that, but not barrel boy, and not the way Jack said foreign entities, which didn't ring up right at the fucking register. He said it like a strand of hair snatched from fuck knew where had been perpetually caught between two of his teeth, and he was using it to floss while he said foreign entities. And later Lowry figured it out. Jack in the Box hadn't meant to say it. He fucking hadn't meant to say foreign entities or tell him about the damn cameras at all. So what the fuck did that mean? But Jack in the Box must have thought it didn't matter, because the next day, from the Southern Reach chaplain herself, Lowry got the full instructions for the Sikh mish, as he liked to call it in his head, most of which involved some ancient fucking dude named Old Jim, who Jack O'Lantern thought might still be alive in Area X. A guy Jack said had been compromised by a foreign entity and affected by pre-Area X infiltration, along with a phrase that caught Lowry's eye about a secret room in Dead Town, delivered unto him via a cavity scooped out of a fucking Bible like it was a book melon, which Lowry found priceless. This new intel that Jack didn't give a fuck about Bibles, or, thus, religion, and thus was also a bit more like Lowry despite the cross at Jack's neck. Hell, he would have taken that paper, devoured it, and shit it out patriotically, except it said, burn when done, right at the fucking top. So ashes to ashes it. Stop dialing long-distance phone numbers and put yourself to better use, Sky said, slipping from his grasp and pushing him into a lower position. 20 minutes and then you should go. Next round of checks on quarters by fucking security, she meant. No nookie or cookie until crossing Bordersville into the unknown. Aye, aye, Captain, Lowry said, and shifted his fucking priorities to where the fucking expedition leader fucking wanted them. Right there in that fucking place he love-hated, and it was going to be all right, this fucking mission, he was going to be fine, and they would all come out of it alive, they surely would, even if he didn't believe in the off switch as he tried to find the on switch. He noticed out of the corner of his eye that the lilies had not survived the trip to her suite, just the vase, which sat next to the little ring on the nightstand. Would she put the ring on, for fuck's sake? Or had she, and it didn't quite fit? He didn't mean this fucking second, but had almost blurted it out, which also almost meant he'd been talking sentences into her like some kind of erotic mesmerist. Fuck, fuck, fuck. His jaw felt detached and numb, and he was drowning in all the jars of dead things had gathered on watch what was not a fucking spectator sport. Had gathered to watch what was not a fucking spectator sport. Breathe through the nose. Breathe. Goal had been 5 minutes to save his jaw from clenching in stress over crossing the border, because even with the fucking drugs, it was already clenched from the fucking stress of being about to cross the fucking border. Jack had slapped him on the back as he walked out. That's my boy! Kind of the same way Sky did now, to indicate the 20 minutes was up. He was pretty sure it had gone spiffy, but mostly he was happy to disengage and fall away down onto the floor for a bit, on his back, his arms outstretched and his cock tingling along with his mouth. Peach-stung fruit of a more distant youth. Fields of wheat in summer, where he'd sneak a fruity beer and sit in the shade of an oak along a dirt road, getting gently drunk. Shit. He was going to have to cross the border in a stupid skin. Reverse puffer fish. So, then, in the end, the fucking end of the beginning of it all, they faced the suits in the special wing of the Southern Reach reserved for the equipment with the disconcerting look of a fucking high school football locker room. It shouldn't look this fucking way, Lowry's senses screamed at him. It shouldn't fucking ever look this way. It fucking shouldn't. Are we going to the moon? Hargraves asked, but she had always asked something like that during the run-throughs. Tremor of an almost laugh. Tremor of an almost laugh, then fucking death silence, except the exhalation of Dan Henkel, medic and heavy mouth breather both. Lowry sharing a glance with fucking Sky, who broke it off like it had been a too long piece of fucking peanut brittle. Date night over. So Lowry had to resume negotiations with the fucking suit he hated so much. Worse, some problem with the fucking forward post position pre-border where they were supposed to get dressed, as Sky put it. For the formal dinner party in hell. Like, one day they'd be husband and wife attending an awards ceremony for best fucking secret exped. It felt to Lowry, and apparently only him, like wearing the skin of another human being and then putting over that a fucking constricting fucking tight turtleneck sweater made of rubber that covered his entire body. And then, over that, a fucking deep-sea diver's suit, of the kind popular in old silent films, where the air line to the surface, or air fuck pipe, or air fuck tube, air something gets tangled or cut, and years later at the bottom of the fucking sea, they find your jellified, algaed, nutrient-rich corpse, still constrained, still being destroyed by the goddamn suit. The gleam of bone peering out through all the human excesses of liquids and goop and just plain old shit your pants human grossness. God, he stank already, something he fucking hated to do, to stink, just putting on the suit, sour from nervous sweat. Only so much cologne he could ladle on to cover it before somebody like sensitive Easterling, the hyper-hypnotist, went all westerly on him and complained like she was allergic. Well, fuck her and the toad she rode in on down Shithead Road. Her face could puff up to the size of a puff adder, a puffer fish, and her throat tightened to a wet-hot rope, twisted taut for all he fucking cared. He wasn't going to smell himself the whole shitty trip. But, in fact, she said nothing except, "Good luck," and he felt totally fucking ashamed for about 2 seconds, which was 2 whole seconds he wasn't thinking about the fucking corridor into Area X. Then they were all in fuck their suits, so ballooned up in that garish, tightish space that there came the vague scratching sound of the outer surface of the suits rubbing up against other suits, and the more they squirmed, waiting, the more it sounded like a basement full of gimps. Bring the ball gags, the rubber helmets, the whips, and the giant dildos. They were in for a fucking hell of a ride. Area X, yee-haw. But all they could do was shuffle like sumo geishas until the guys with the special clearance came in with the wide dollies to scoop them up, 2 or 3 at a time, and wheel them through a cellophaned door into their pathetic doom on a fucking truck ramp, to be loaded up like human-sized souvenirs commemorating some shitty catastrophe. Some human-sized trophies, Fu the physicist said. With their helmets on and locked in, to avoid contamination before the border, except contamination was there, here, everywhere. How Lowry wanted to just fucking divest, and scamper on all 4s across the border, howling at the moon or sun or whatever celestial body happened to be on fucking offer. Shoved so tight together in the truck bed that Lowry couldn't have fucking moved if he'd wanted to, human sarcophagus being offered up as sacrifice to an uncaring god of no particular nature, since they had no fucking clue what kind of god animated Area X, or if a god had anything to do with it at all. Maybe a demon, a devil, a sphinx, a griffin, a talking head on a spike. staring at each other from the humidity-tinged helmets, air valve open now, but filtered fucking pure. Lowry hoped they wouldn't have to use their oxygen tanks on the other side or stay in their suits. It felt so wrong, got under his skin to be sitting so close, surrounded on all sides by such beautiful, fit people, and unable to touch, to feel, much of fucking anything. Let the dicks commence to reveal themselves through the hole like, guess the cast member. Who would go first into the breach they called the door in the border? Not I, said the fly. Not I, said Lowry. Put a psychic first. They should know what was about to happen to them. Old joke, would never be tired, though. A rush of sadness, out of nowhere, just as suddenly obliterated by the lurch of the truck hitting a pothole, forward to the border. Just like the chicken before them. Yes, it's the chicken backwards. Chicken fucking noodle soup. Chicken fuck stuffed with another bird, like duck? Chicken broiled. Chicken fucking fried with fries. Chicken shoved in a microwave, irradiated on high. Chicken boiled in a goddamn pot for hours and hours to make it less tough, just enough so you could sell that shit at a fancy French restaurant. Fucking fuck Whitby had told Lowry about the chicken. Why had he told Lowry about the chicken? Why had Lowry let him? But it was Lowry's damn fault, too, because he could have put that on someone else. He could have told Sky. He could have been Kissing Landry. Scratch that. Doingdrugs. Scratch that. Doing drugs. Sitting on a goddamn motherfucking branch and doing drugs. He could have told Landry the chicken story, gotten it out of his head. Because he didn't fucking even know why it was in his head. This had been when Lowry thought of Whitby as that strange little prick, or that straight albino pretzel, or that starving marshmallow showing his ribs. So cheery, out of season, as the saying went. That fucking fuck last had been chumming it with Landry, snorting something while shooting something fucking else. It had been white stuff and brown stuff and red stuff, maybe. So, anyway, Whitby, new to the job and so damn fucking cheery no matter what, still convinced he'd made the expedition. Maybe stow away in the suit of someone more voluminous. Fuck, get lost in a fold like a sail, only discovered taking off the fucking suits on the other side. Back when Whitby clearly had hope and esprit de corps rather than the fucking corpse variety that metastasized later as black humor, sleeping too much, drinking too much, and talking about shit in evil ways. No one else saw Whitby as the fucking Prince of fucking Denmark or whatever, but Lowry could tell the shift. Of course, fucking Whitby had cornered Lowry in the hauntable dining digs to tell him the fucked up chicken story. Although mainly because Lowry had been pissed off with his comrades for reasons he forgot and sat next to or near Whitby to have distance from the rest of the twats. The head twat to keep the other twats off him. Use the head twat to keep the other twats off him. Lowry had taken someone's meat portion, gibbering on a thick pile of napkins, and pilfered an apple just to make a point. Also, now fucking forgotten. The meat likely wasn't quivering or gibbering, but even back when Whitby told him the fucking chicken story, he was pretty high. Pretty damn high. Aspic. His pilfered meat and was glubby aspic with murdered fruits. Do you know the story of how they tested the corridor? Whitby asked him. How they field tested it, I mean to say. The corridor from the science department to the cafeteria? Do tell. No, from the border with Area X. From the border into Area X. Lowry sighed. A huge, heaving, melodramatic sigh meant to exhale all the air in the room that he'd been saving up in his lungs. This guy. This fucking guy. At lunch. This Southern Gothic happy small penis guy, fuck, who probably had to pay for a reach around when freebies existed everywhere in the universe for miles. Whitby had, at best, made the prancing pony team armed with mallets back in college. Or not even that, but clothes horses or hobby horses, and they'd been swatting each other's bums with mallets, and the balls had all been just clicking and dancing around on shiny lawns, forgotten. Then, continuing this line of thought, Whitby had probably been kicked off the team for freezing up from the stress of accidentally riding his hobby horse to death. First, at the extended rallies, or balls in one, or horsey de camp, or whatever they call the stupid fucking horse stuff at fancy prancy universities. Lowry had been so invested in his vision of what? Incompetence? Coming in lastness? That he totally fucking forgot it was his turn to talk. Robots, right? Funny, fancy prancing robots with weird hats and weather vanes for heads? Whitby shook his head with such enthusiastic negation, Lowry feared the fucking thing might fall right off and spin across the floor. Lowry looked at his aspic jiggle, juggling interior fruit slices via some dubious molecular equations, and debated leaving the table for the table with the popular kids he currently hated. All laughing about some dirty joke, he fucking hoped. But the chicken beckoned. The chicken coerced. The chicken chided. Okay, Corporal Fresh Fuck the Third, tell me about the chicken. I'm not. Just tell me. Tell me now before my jiggle settles, man. So I learned this information from the robotics department. The whole fucking department? From a woman who. Never mind. The chicken? Yes. So, Whitby continued, undaunted, which Lowry grudgingly began to fucking admire. They did send in a robot on a track, but it became stuck halfway through or ran out of energy. But, anyway, they brought it back and sent in the backup chicken instead. A chicken in a harness with a lightweight rope attached to the harness. So? They put the chicken in the robot carriage and unspooled the rope, a very thin, very long rope, because they didn't yet know the length of the corridor. But at some point the robotic carriage encountered some obstacle, but the chicken went toward the light in front of it. The light? The opening at the other end. And because they'd put a small primitive camera on the chicken and the chicken went through the hole, they knew it was possible for a person to go through. Lowry, hooked. Wait, what do you mean? And how many times did they do this? Just once? And what happened to the chicken? He didn't know why, but he felt very invested in the stupid fucking chicken all of a sudden. He could imagine the chicken drawn by the light, hoping for something to peck. Was there a juicy worm in the fucking light? Surely light was better than the damn darkness. Fuck the darkness. Head for the light, chicken. You can do it. You can make it. I know you can. More of a rooster, Whitby said. A fighting rooster of some kind. The chicken was a motherfucking rooster. Yes, I believe so. I believe I misspoke about the chicken. Choke the fucking chicken, Whitby. Whitby laughed. High-pitched, startling. Never wanted a repeat performance of that. So what happened to the chicken rooster is they had to pull it back to get the camera from around its neck. And that's what they did. Relief mixed with the existing aspic nausea. The chicken had been all right. But then realized he was fucking making assumptions. But the chicken? The rooster, I mean? Oh, unrecognizable. That's the really great, interesting part. It didn't resemble a chicken at all anymore, but at least the camera was intact. Anyway, that's what I heard. That's when Lowry did leave the table. Left his aspic fruit behind for Whitby or whomever. Because of the sloshing stack of bullshit. The expedition might be compromised by fucking, and the army might pull shit like sending a chicken over. But no way the jack-in-the-box he had come to know would allow Lowry to risk his life based on that kind of fucked up shit. But no way had the chicken been the first expedition, because all the people trapped in Area X, they had been the real first expedition. What had the chicken rooster looked like in the end? Whitby never fucking said. Fuck. It's fuck backwards into fuck forwards. It's a mirror image of fuck. Fuck mirror. You fucking sugar count. You fire dick twat flying cocksucker. You cocksucker sucking cock with another cock, you goddamn piece of shit. Fuck buddy long dick penis shitter. Drown in an outhouse, you fuckland fucklord reach around meat beating county old hallucination. Get your claws off me, fucking dark lord, dark fucking wisp, get you gone and off me. You fucking low carb crisp of a fucking fuck. You mind's eye sphincter. You asshole licking lying treasonous sons of blinches lying in the long grass with your fucking dicks in your hands. Fucking fuckside fuckling fuckamole fuckshot fuxicle fuck. You witch, you witch, you witch. Goddamn nothing mother humping bastard of a twat whipped fuck up. You pathetic blinch ghost of a fool fellating your own dead body's cock with some other mouth. Shove it where the sun don't shine with all the rest of your fucking hoarder's booty. See how I care, you filthy flapping dick dying in the sunshine, shit gatherer. You talking, walking shitstorm of a shit stain. You wallowing, swallowing fuck, go get fucked, skull fucking, fucked, fucking, fuck. Ah, make it stop, get me out of here. Oh shit. I forgot there's a quotation mark at the end of that. You know what that means, kids. We get to do that whole thing as Lowry now. Rinse, wash, repeat. Once more for the world. You fucking sugar count. You fire dick twat flying cocksucker. You cocksucker sucking cock with another cock, you goddamn piece of shit. Fuck buddy long dick penis shitter. Drown in an outhouse, you fuckland fucklord reach around meat beating county old hallucination. Get your claws off me, fucking dark lord, dark fucking wisp. Get you gone and off me. You fucking low carb crisp of a fucking fuck. You mind's eye sphincter. You asshole licking lying treasonous sons of blinches lying in the long grass with your fucking dicks in your hands. Fuckside fuckling fuckamole fuckshot fuxicle fuck. You witch, you witch, you witch. Goddamn nothing mother humping bastard of a twat whipped fuck up. You pathetic blinch ghost fool fellating your own dead body's cock with some other mouth. Shove it where the sun don't shine with all the rest of your fucking hoarder's booty. See how I care, you filthy flapping dick dying in the sunshine, shit gatherer. You talking, walking shitstorm of a shit stain. You wallowing, swallowing fuck, go get fucked, skull fucking fuck. Ah, make it stop, get me out of here. Yes, you certainly did, Frank Misers. Lowry only realized his voice was saying these things from the look on the faces of those around him, the echo on the comms. The silence on the comms after all the shouting. Oh, he was shouting. Now I'm not going to shout it out. I have people who live near me. I'm not going to do that. Ah, make it stop, get me out of here. Who had he been talking to? Who had he thought was in the tunnel behind them? Who had scared him that much? No idea. Not a clue. But he shook it off, could pretend it had never happened, would never happen again. Besides, some of that had been decorum. Lowry trained not to say the bad words. So it was twat and blinch forever. His sisters had beat the real words out of him. Ah, hey, he was stone cold sober now, staring out at a hazy horizon full of trees. How could there be so many trees? And couldn't say the F word. Even thinking it made him nauseous. What the F? had happened. Where were his swears? He threw up in his helmet, staggered to the side, sitting down heavy on a rock, throat raw. Oh, holy oh, holy oh, solid ground. Even with the filter, and through the vomit, Lowry could already smell Area X, and the sun felt heavy on his face, even dulled by the helmet. Heady mix of humidity, of vegetal thickness, expressed all around in undergrowth and trees familiar from the southern reach. A jarring rhythm or distant sound or hum in the air. Like a dessert made to look like a hamburger, a sound that shouldn't have been a sound, so he couldn't describe it, except as a creature, a subtle monster grating against his teeth, popping from his jaw. By the time he'd recovered, the border had pooped out almost everyone. Skye had ignored his outburst and barked out the roll call head count, moving among the writhing bodies of sausages not yet oriented, struggle fighting to regain motor control. To stand. A writhing mound of giant tardigrades or he didn't know what, but it was natural/unnatural the way they couldn't come to their senses, kept falling and getting up and falling. As if they'd suffered some natural disaster, been half electrocuted in a freak storm, some enduring yet fading trauma. Skye's movements in her suit became more frantic. "Marianne? Rogers? Marianne?" But Dr. Marianne Rogers, the junior wetlands biologist with the startling blue eyes and perky nose, never answered, never made it through, would never be found, had to have vanished in transit, as Winters put it later. Couldn't take it. Couldn't take whatever Area X whispered in her ear, whatever it showed her that it hadn't shown the others. "One sausage down, 23 to go," Lowry said, amazed at how old his voice sounded. Like a cracked statue in a public park. Like a man in a coffin 1,000 years. Like whatever the vultures couldn't bear to eat. He couldn't imagine being lost in the corridor, although maybe she had made it back to the border. What a story that'd be for the grandkids. I got stuck in a magic culvert and did nothing except get lost and come back, and yet here's a medal pinned to my chest for no reason at all. Could be. Could be. Oh, shit, it's him again. What a story that'd be for the grandkids. I got stuck in a magic culvert and did nothing except get lost and come back, and yet here's a medal pinned to my chest for no reason at all. Could be. Could be. Unaware he'd muttered most of that aloud over his comms. But they all knew it couldn't be. She was gone. And there's a string of about a dozen or so Fs. F. Cascading alarm about Rogers, which turned most of them into suit-clad, synchronized dancers who drifted out of the crude circle, regaining motor function, but then drew close again, precarious, to form a ragged flower petal design. Except the edges were as sharp as trauma, as sharp as something that could rip you apart. If anyone had seen it from above, and Lowry kind of hoped not, because they had no air support. Hoped, yes, though. Let's get this party started. Let's see what greets us here. 10, 15 minutes, in the chaos, that's how long it took. Skye barking orders no one at first thought to follow. All that training circling the drain, not able to escape for the clog and heavy fog in the brain pipes. Before anyone realized, John Erlichson lay in a fetal position on the ground. Known by the prominent duct tape across his chest with his name in all caps with magic marker. But because everyone knew he'd been terrified, no one would know who he was in the suit, and even though against regs, what was the harm? Had it been a bullseye for Area X? Lowry would ask Skye later, just to make sure she was still talking to him, but also because doubt had pierced him. Henkel and Winters tended to Erlichson awkwardly on bended knees in their suits, their quivering forever tombs, their embryonic inverted donut holes. while all the other Earthbound astronauts gathered in a circle, no doubt blotting out the sun for Erlichson during his last moments. If he wasn't already dead. Lowry abstained, noted, destined for his memoir, that the butt patches on the suits exaggerated glutes so much there was a crinkly shelf or human flesh ledge around Erlichson, Henkel, and Winters on which he could have rested some of the medical equipment. Although not communicated directly, more through psychic osmosis and group feeling, and some seeing, Erlichson's suit had fused with his body so hard that his helmet had form-fitted to his face like a scene in a gangster movie where they suffocated a snitch with a plastic bag. What had Erlichson done to Area X to deserve that? What had the rest of them to have to see that shit? Somehow, when they straightened Erlichson out, it became clear the whole suit had shrink-wrapped him, and the glass helmet, now a profile of his face, had begun to turn from tinted copper to a milky white. White pores like the maggots in tapioca pudding, or that was how Lowry perceived the evil that was pudding. And Lowry wanted to vomit again, peering in on all that as the tapioca moved slightly, a kind of rasp, and he realized they were witness to Erlichson's last breath, juddering through the goop of not milk. "Take off your suits!" he screamed into their helmet comms so hard that some held the sides of their helmet heads with their hands. "Take off your suits! Contamination!" As he scrabbled at his helmet latch, as he gibbered pointlessly, swears still snuffed out. But instinctually he knew this was true, knew he was right. Or so close to right as to be no difference. Their suits, as he had always known, would betray them. Their skin might betray them too, but at least it was part of them, more a civil war than a foreign invader. The straps and traps and clasps and lapses on their lumpy chastity suits, their elaborate costume for clowning chumps up for adventure. Frantic, because he'd realized Erlichson had only been 2 in line ahead of him in this cosmically fucked up grocery store checkpoint, check-in. And what happened had happened in Area X, not in the corridor. Was he still shouting? Did it matter? No one else had the balls or ovaries or moral equivalence to say what needed to be said. Yet, slowly, then swiftly, the others followed his lead, even as Sky ordered them to wait, and become squishy tapioca pudding in a fancy multi-million-dollar flesh bag. No more flesh bags, no more! Just saying whatever rant came to mind, but still avoiding the F word for fear he might burst into flames now that the drugs didn't work and he couldn't quite remember if the F's had been effin' with him before the drugs had... Whoops. And he couldn't quite remember if the F's had been effin' with him before the drugs in quite such a profusion, as if F's were a million minks in one of those terrible farm places, with not enough room between each F, and like forest fires, some places the whole world would burn if he started saying the F word, in such close proximity and profusion. Oh my God, he was losing his mind when with his shitting suit, come off, get the sausage off the sausage! Ah, then, divested of his own death, gushing forward into the exhale and inhale of the unrecycled, and the feeling of the humid air, redoubled, beautiful wrought, thick and thrusting and ready, the squawk-tweet chirp of the birds, the sudden onrush of such a more intense blue to the sky, all of this better than sex, at least better than sex in that moment, because who knew how he'd feel in another moment, but released into a kind of paradoxical paradise. It gave him a hard-on because, hell yes, he was alive, not like Erlichson. He breathed deep, even as he kept, melodramatically now, having fun, feeling like an actor taking off a period costume after a play, removing his exoskeleton, but keeping his bones and his skull. Although his skull was a bone, technically. Soon enough, Lowry felt weightless, gorgeous, and lusciously naked, along with the rest, most reaching for their trail clothes in their packs. But not Lowry. He beat his chest with one fist like half of an old movie, then left off seeming celebration in consideration of the death of dear departed Erlichson, who, to be honest, he had hardly known. Happy enough to let his dick dawdle and dangle there in front of all of them. If he could have swung it like a vaudeville entertainer with a cane, he would have, then taken a bow. For hadn't he saved them all? No compelling reason for clothes. He could see, putting in his report to Jack after they got back, especially clothes that betrayed us so hard and so badly. Terrible thought. What if Dr. Rogers had transmogrified and was also sploosh in the suit with Erickson and they just couldn't see her amid all the viscosity, the slime, the squirm? No. F, 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 no. No. What if, here, they could be free to burrow into each other's skin to protect themselves? Burrow in deep for freedom's sake. Maybe the people he hated most on the expedition would allow the loan from time to time, even as he recognized this as more spiral, more panic, disguised as experimental ideation. Another terrible thought. If suits could collapse into hard jelly, what use the hiking clothes? It would always be hot here, unless it wasn't, and that, too, the biologists, there being no meteorologists among them, would put a finger to the pulse of temperatures, take samples of pieces of sky, to see if this cracked, brittle shard they'd knocked loose with a hammer tasted better than that piece, trying to forecast the next week while they all cowered in their skins and even Lowry realized he was beginning to spiral. Not 20 minutes out of the cave mouth or symbolic vagina or whatever the psych witches back home would no doubt assign it without the imagination to think of it as a conduit, to just think of it as a conduit between states of being. I'm going to repeat that. And even Lowry realized he was beginning to spiral, not 20 minutes out of the cave mouth or symbolic vagina or whatever the psych witches back home would no doubt assign it without the imagination to just think of it as a conduit between states of being. While in front of them, the high pile of discarded suits grew and grew, some of them entire and some in pulled apart pieces. A grand frenetic molting into their original forms to mark the start of this glorious asshole of an expedition. Should they burn it now or leave it? What if they had to mix and match to make it back at expedition's end? Or were they going to do it naked like the chicken? Mound. Mountain. Here lie the remains of some peeled astronauts we cooked, cracked, and ate. Somewhere under there lay Erlichson. Lowry, staring at that FFFFF site, and site, that's SITE and SIGHT, wanted someone to hug him and reassure that Erlichson and Rogers had failed to follow some vital protocol, although what it could be other than don't die and have no damn bad luck, he could not imagine. They'd been no less fastidious or with it, RE the program. But still, that they had been their own but still, that they had been their own worst enemy. That must be the fundamental truth. Better you than me. Better the rest of yous than me. While the rest of the UUs stared at him like he'd forgotten to bark out another order, all in various stages of dress or undress, with some like him, perhaps dazed by death and disappearance so early, unable to put on pants quickly or competently, and falling over on their sides and having to do it with butt firmly on the grass. Some butt to butt, a sensation he loathed like it made him unsure of whose butt was which, especially if your butt had fallen asleep. This made him giggly, an impulse he suppressed, as he could not tell if that impulse came from his face or some aftershock influencing his face. Soon only Skye, the one who had tried to stop them, still wore her suit. But something in looking around at everyone in their trail clothes and Lowry still naked exerted too much peer pressure. Even as expedition leader and the practical matter of all the rest's divestment of trust in the personal architecture provided to them by the Southern Reach. Zippers unzipped, and then the arms she pulled out from the suit, then stepped out of the legs, and soon enough she was naked in front of them, these people she was supposed to lead. Standing there with her arms by her side, with a look both defiant and vulnerable. Come on, the water's fine, Lowry quipped, and he meant it gentle, maybe even affectionate. But it did not hit that way. Fell flatter than a topographical map of flatness. Even though in every way looking like a goddess, Skye had ascended and showed herself to be above the fray, above even Lowry's useful/useless panic. And he a Neanderthal, or first man of some sort, there in that bird-shrieking, anxiety-inducing Eden knot. Get dressed, Lowry, Skye said, even as he couldn't stop staring at her, at all of her, as naked as the day she had been born. For a pang of a forlorn moment, Lowry wished he'd never volunteered, that she had never volunteered, that it was probably now that most of that it wasn't whoa that it wasn't probably now that most of them would die what the hell? There's a line break and a sentence break and a page break. For a pang of a forlorn moment, Lowry wished he'd never volunteered, that she had never volunteered, and that it wasn't probably now that most of them would die here, given 22 is less. Okay, okay. I think I've got it. For a pang of a forlorn moment, Lowry wished he'd never volunteered, that she had never volunteered, that it wasn't probably now that most of them would die here, given 22 was less than 24 in only 20 minutes. At that rate, they'd all be dead well before next sunrise. We're free now, though, he said. We're free. That's an order, Skye snapped. I'll get dressed, Lowry said, even though he didn't want to get dressed, because he felt naked without his FFFFs, without his drugs, and knew Landry was nearby, but could not visually locate him for the nod that meant the drugs had come through unscathed. The chill he felt was due to that, and also because some part of his mind knew that how he had behaved might not be considered normal or unhistrionic, and also that he might have been wrong about taking off their suits, because now they might be subject to every pathogen in the air, in the soil, in the water. Together, Lowry and Skye dressed in their trail clothes, facing each other, to an audience of 20, not 22, and a pile of dead suits. I fucking hate you, Skye hissed in his ear as they headed toward base camp. Get it the fuck together. That was where his F's had gone, Lowry thought, sadly. Into her brain. Would he ever get them back? And that's where we were going to call it for this week. Uh, we're going to calm down on the F bombs for a little bit. But yeah, that's it's quite a thing. To anyone who didn't see the brief image I threw in there to there's that. I'll leave that up for another 10 seconds or so, and then get rid of it and hope that that is not the thumb tile. Thumb. What are those called? Thumb image. The little thing. Anyway, that gives you an idea of what I was up against. I apologize. I kind of mangled parts of it. It's very difficult to read that even in your head. Like when I was reading through this on my own, I had to reread multiple pages of it multiple times because I'm like, what is even being said here? What's going on? What's happening here? Um, anyway, welcome to Lowry. It's Lowry. Hi. He's a character, and this is that legendary first expedition into Area X. The start of that. Things are already terrible. Well, hello, Time 303. This is probably not the one to have tuned into right after those. But hi, yeah, no, it's it's a whole thing. Um, Decisions were made on the part of the author, and we got what we got. Hopefully, it was mostly coherent. It's not, sadly. It's very incoherent. I'm probably making it worse. All I can do is recommend you get an actual copy of the book so you can read the text and uh, not be totally bewildered. And yeah, it definitely feels like it was written like there was a quota involved, for sure. Um, Very literally using it as a comma. In fact, um, very literally, because it's used as a comma. Unfortunately, it means he puts commas everywhere as well on either side of them. So instead of merely overusing commas, Jeff Vandermeer is like doubling down on overusing commas. So it's exceptionally hard to read aloud. I apologize. My heart goes out to any professional, actual uh, book on tape people who have to do that segment because that's just many, many, many takes. Uh, this portion isn't really spoilers. If you've been through the if you've been through Annihilation, you basically know Lowry's role at that point. Um, I think he's at least been referenced, or the first expedition has been referenced. Um, if you've gone through Acceptance, then you're not really missing anything, um, other than context and I guess spoilers on this book, if anything, because it's a prequel. Prequels being prequels. Um, I'm not. I think I've said this before. I'm not a big prequel fan because you generally know how things are going to turn out. You might not know the particulars, but you know the end status quo. So you can generally put together a narrative in your own head of how it got there, and having an actual narrative put in front of you, an official word of God narrative, isn't necessarily going to be better or worse. It'll just be there. It's like, oh, well, we already knew the end state. Um, this does confirm a number of suspicions one had as of Acceptance. We'll get to those when we get to them. Um, Specifically about Lowry. um, and it's very no duh kind of stuff. It's like, well, yeah, obviously. You'll know when we get there. So yeah, two more installments for this next week and the week after. I will not be here this Friday, so no Lazarus Effect this week. But next week, um, we are all systems go, so to speak. Should be no problem. No trouble. But yeah, hopefully people enjoyed. Again, it's a toughie. If you didn't enjoy, I'm sorry. If you did enjoy, great. I'm glad. Anything intelligent or salient? No, not really. If you're tuning in for the first time, I do these live. Or if you're listening to these after the fact via recording, I do these live starting around 12 noon U.S. East Coast time, Eastern Standard Time, or UTC -5, whichever is easier for you to convert from. Um, Hopefully this isn't too distracting for your geography exam, time 303. Um, but anyway, yeah, you can catch me live if you want. You don't have to. There's no, I don't make money off these. That's not the goal. The goal is to read fun books aloud for fun. It's a hobby, not a job. This is the goal. And if other people enjoy it too, awesome. If they don't, well, I'll read them. There's plenty more books I'll read. So I kind of want to get around to doing a read through of some of the, and I don't know how many there are now. Uh, what's the author's name? Kieran something. Kieran Shea. Coco Takes a Holiday. It's kind of a cyberpunk action thriller series. I don't know how many there are now. I read the first two or three, and I haven't checked back on it. At some point, I want to get around to those. Those are kind of pulpy. Um, Not going to be anytime soon, though. Anyway, yeah. So next week we'll get more of that expedition. We'll be getting more of Full Metal Panic. We'll actually be moving on to book 2 of Full Metal Panic, light novel 2, whatever. Um, what is that one entitled? Rampaging One Night Stand. They all have goofy titles that are sort of like riffs on movie titles. I think a bunch of them, not all of them though. And we'll be doing next week. We'll be doing our usual The Lazarus Effect by Bill Ransom and Frank Herbert. Moving along with that now that the plot on that is moving along. Alrighty. It is unfortunately distracting. I'll listen later. Yes, this is no problem. So yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in. Stay safe, stay sane, and be decent to each other. It's a crazy world now, maybe more than ever. Feels like we're up against the clock as far as changing environment and societal breakdown are concerned. So it's take pleasure in the little things, I guess. Enjoy what you can. Tell people you love that you love them. Freak them out real bad when you do. Be like, hey, I'm going to freak you out a lot. I love you, man. I love you so much, man. If I never see you again, I love you, man. Really, really freak people out when you do that. Depending on the sociocultural norms and taboos of where you're at. Otherwise, have fun. See you all later. Until next time, which will not be until Monday. Monday, what is that? The 17th. There we go. I know numbers. Monday, the 17th of March. Until then, I will see you all later. Toodaloo.